Well, welcome in, guys. And today I want to talk about a pending disaster, an absolute train wreck stemming from the events of last night in the NBA. Of course, Victor Wembanyama clashed up against Luka Dončić, two guys who are playing about as well as anybody in the NBA outside of Nikola Jokic right now. They played, and the 5-1 San Antonio Spurs fell to the now 7-2 LA Lakers. 7-2. That would be 7-2 and in solo possession of second place in the Western Conference. That is despite in the 9 games that they've played, Luka Dončić has played in only 5 and Austin Reeves has missed 2. So Dončić misses 4 of the 9 games, AR misses 2 of the 9, and yet and still, the Lakers are 7-2 behind Luka Dončić, who dropped 35, 13, and 9 last night. That'd be 35 points, 13 assists, and 9 rebounds. Now, he shot lousily from the field, only 9 of 27. But look, Victor Wembanyama wasn't winning any prizes either. He scored only 19 points on 5 of 14. But when the smoke clears and the dust settles, the big takeaway here is the Lakers beat a team that were previously only once beaten, and they did it without Austin Reeves for the night. And, who else were they missing? There's some other guy that wasn't available. I know it'll come to, that's right, LeBron James, who missed his 9th game of the season. He still isn't playing yet this year. He isn't traveling with the Lakers on their upcoming road trip. He has allegedly been cleared for 5-on-5s, but when is this guy actually going to get back on the basketball court? Look, if the Lakers are lucky, the answer to that question is going to be never. Hopefully they can cut him. I don't know if any team out there is foolish enough to trade him at this point. But speaking of trades, guys, there was another game last night which happened between the New Orleans Pelicans and the Dallas Mavericks. And in case you didn't know this year, the Pels are straight ass. But unfortunately for the Dallas Mavericks, they are even assier, it appears, because they lost to the Pelicans last night, 101-99, and the loss to the Pels, who were previously in last place in the Western Conference, now ties the Dallas Mavericks with New Orleans for last place in the Western Conference. And if you're listening to this right now, I think the only thing we can think back to now at this point of the conversation would have to be the early morning hours of February 2nd, 2025. Hell, I know where I was. That was one of the biggest events in NBA history, in my estimation. There's only a few moments, I think, that are as impactful as that, meaning a few moments that I will remember so vividly and poignantly as much as that morning when I went to bed seemingly just before the trade news was announced that Luka Dončić was being traded from the Dallas Mavericks to the LA Lakers in what became a blockbuster trade, but what more prominently will stand as the worst trade in NBA history. I just missed it before I went to bed. I was walking my dog early that morning, and a friend texted me, "Luka to the Lakers?" ? And I just thought it was a joke or some kind of an online prank, or he was pranking me in some way. And not even Luka Dončić himself believed the news. He had to check that it wasn't April Fool's, he said, when the news got to him finally.
I mean, everybody was surprised, so you can imagine how surprised I was. I was almost asleep, so when I got a call, I had to check it was April 1st. I didn't really believe it at first. And it was a bit shock. It was hard moments for me. It was home.
But lo and behold, the Dallas Mavericks were actually stupid enough to make the trade. Not only, though, did they trade Luka Dončić, at the time a 25-year-old who had made 5 consecutive first-team All-NBA selections, basically from his second year on. So his rookie year was the only year he wasn't first-team All-NBA until last year because he didn't play enough games to qualify. Not only were the Dallas Mavericks stupid enough to trade him away. The package was almost equally unbelievable. Max Christie, Anthony Davis, an injury-prone Anthony Davis, by the way, who got hurt immediately upon them consummating that trade, and he's already hurt again this year. And they got a first-round pick. No, not the first-round pick, ultimately, that would become Cooper Flagg. That pick was a manifestation of the shitty run that the Mavericks went on, quite frankly, after they traded away Luka Dončić, and basically half of their team got hurt after they made the trade. And add it all up, along with potentially some funny business, some potential rigging by the league offices to make sure that the number 1 overall pick would find its way to Dallas, which ultimately would, as we know, become the transcendent Cooper Flagg. Well, look at the Dallas Mavericks now. They got their heralded rookie, Cooper Flagg. They have AD whenever he can drag himself on the court, that is, and Max Christie, whatever. This team is going absolutely nowhere. It is a colossal train wreck.
It's a complete crap.
Nico Harrison, for to whatever degree that he, played a part in the execution of this trade, should unequivocally lose his job. Now would be fine. He probably should have lost his job like a week after that trade was consummated last year. But obviously the 2-6 start now, you could fire that guy. Of course, look, the decision came from the top. You don't make this kind of deal. Nico Harrison doesn't have the ability to execute such a trade without sign-off from the very top. And why did the very top sign off? Well, I guess if you believe in conspiracy theories, you can speculate that there was some kind of a casino deal going on, that they were going to move to Vegas maybe. Really, I just prescribe to the notion that Nico and ownership were aligned on the same front that Luka Dončić was fat and lazy.
Fat?
That Luka Dončić was fat.
This fat son of a bitch!
And unserious about his conditioning, his physicality, and taking his game to the next level, to whatever next level that could possibly be, because as I just said, he was first-team All-NBA for 5 consecutive seasons to the point that they traded him. But, don't look now, Dallas Mavericks, because Luka Dončić did take his conditioning seriously this summer. He did elevate his game to the next level, and this is what we get. Like I said, it's not an overwhelmingly large sample size, as he's played in only 5 of their 9 games. But in those 5 games now, he is averaging 40 points per game, 11 rebounds, and like 9.2 assists. That's 40, 11, and 9. Nearly a triple-double at 40 points per game. And he's shooting 50% from the field, too, if you need him. He was shooting much higher until, again, his aforementioned crappy shooting outing last night where he was only 9 of 27. This guy's getting it done at every freaking level, and he is leading the LA Lakers now to the 7-2 record and solo possession of second place in the Western Conference at this time with, again, no LeBron James. This trade has got to be the worst in NBA history. I don't think there was much question about it when it happened back in February of last year, but now, in the aftermath of the way this season has begun, with the Lakers at the 2 seed, and by the way, only 1 game behind Oklahoma City. The Thunder last night lost to the Portland Trail Blazers. They have 1 loss. I believe they are 8-1. I'll put up the standings again here. And the Lakers are 7-2. They're just 1 game out of first place with no LeBron James. So while the Lakers were bestowed Luka Dončić, this top 3 universal player right now,
it's a gift. We're talking about a 25-year-old that is top 3 player in the universe.
Maybe it's time for the Lakers brass to start wheeling and dealing and finding a way to shed not only LeBron James, but his bum-ass son, Bronny, who, by the way, Bronny has been getting some minutes as of late because the Lakers have been so shorthanded and so decimated with injuries. Bronny has been getting some meaningful and impactful minutes in these games, and he has upped his scoring average all the way to 1.5 points per game at this time. And I think he's up all of a sudden to around 21% shooting from the field. So it sure would be swell if while they were kicking the Fraud King to the curb before he can make his way back from whatever fake injury he's dealing with right now, if they could find a way to have him take son Bronny with him as well, because the Lakers might actually be onto something here. I personally still think the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Denver Nuggets, and the Houston Rockets are a cut above the rest right now. But the Lakers are right there. They're probably the next team you mention after those three. I think you put them above teams like Golden State at this point, San Antonio, and they're doing it again with Luka only playing about half of the games thus far, Austin Reeves missing 2 games, and, a $55 million hole in their salary cap. So just imagine what this Lakers team can become in the years moving forward if they decide to extend Austin Reeves to some whatever supermax thing that he would be eligible for presumptively this summer, because he is going to be on an expiring contract. He has 1 year left after this year, and it is his player option, and it's only for about $14 million. So needless to say, he's going to be declining that, and the Lakers should absolutely be extending him to play alongside Luka Dončić and his massive contract extension that they just signed him to. And hopefully for the Lakers organization, for JJ Redick, for Luka Dončić, for Austin Reeves, that won't include LeBron James in any future plans. But it's safe to say that the future is bright in Los Angeles behind Luka Dončić, and the bum Dallas Mavericks are left with nothing but regrets on what was the worst trade in NBA history.